Hello and welcome to An Idol Called Food. I'm your host, JT Tapias, and this podcast episode is sponsored by the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. Sustainable nutrition that puts an end to yo-yo dieting and edifies your mind, body, and spirit. Today we're going to be speaking about 4 myths that are stopping you from losing belly fat. More importantly, I'm going to give you 3 tips that will help you lose your belly and decrease your body fat like never before. So you've probably heard all the myths and all the ideas around weight loss, and I understand that weight loss can be very, very confusing. I've been in this industry for 23 years, and I think I have heard it all. I have heard it and seen it all. I've seen the gimmicks on TV at late night, the ab cruncher, the crunch killer, the ab destroyer. I mean, they give it all these very crazy sort of impactful names that make people wonder if if I do abs for, crunches for 3 minutes, I'm going to lose my belly and everything is going to be okay. And nothing can be further from the truth. And so myth number 1 is running is good for weight loss. I see people on the side of the road consistently running. I live in Florida. In the middle of the day, it's scorching hot outside, and I see these people running sometimes in these plastic suits as if the weight were going to melt off of them. And it's sad. I want to pull aside and just, say, hey, just get in the car. Let me get you some water. Let me get you some food, because before you lose the weight, you're actually going to die. Running is probably one of the most inefficient things you can do for weight loss, because your main source of energy is actually oxygen. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about that here in a bit. And so if you're running for weight loss, my friend, I'm just here to tell you that that is one of the most inefficient things if you're looking to lose your belly. Myth number 2, and this is a big one right now, fasting is great for weight loss. It's a great weight loss tool. I hear it all the time. People are constantly talking about these great benefits and how if you fast and you go X amount of hours without eating, that this is going to melt the fat off, or that you can actually eat whatever you want after you come back from the fast. Once again, nothing can be further from the truth. I do believe in the whole idea of calories in, calories out, but it is more complex than just that, right? It's more than calories in, calories out. But that being said, this is very true. So for example, if you fast for 16 or 22 hours, but then inside of your eating window, you bring in a surplus of calories, guess what? You're going to gain weight. So it's not that the period of fasting is doing anything magical, but except all you're really doing is you're avoiding a lot of the snacking that you're doing in between. And that can be beneficial, obviously, for weight loss, but it has nothing to do with the struggle and the pain that you have to go through and the hunger pangs that you have to endure. And then that all of a sudden you're going to be able to feast, right? Once again, nothing can be further from the truth. Myth number 3 is sit-ups help you lose belly fat. I hear this all the time from my members inside of the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. People ask me, hey, what exercise can I do to get rid of my belly? Should I do crunches? Should I do, should I do planks? Should I do crunches? Should I do ab kicks? And none of those exercises are actually going to help you lose your belly. If anything, they're actually going to make your belly bigger, because you might stimulate some of those muscles inside of your abdomen, but the belly fat's not going anywhere. It's not going to melt your fat. It's not going to magically disappear your fat. And so doing crunches and sit-ups will not get rid of your belly. Okay. Myth number 4, JT, when January comes around, I'm going to get a membership and I'm going to be at the gym every single day. If you've ever been to a conventional gym, you realize that a lot of the people there are not necessarily fit. And you may argue, well, that's why they're there. They're getting fit. The problem is that if you go to that gym enough, you realize that you'll see the same suspects over and over and over again. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they've never changed. And the question is why? Well, exercise makes you hungry. You're burning calories and you get hungry. And so oftentimes most of the people that are there don't know what they're doing, and they spend an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes I've seen people there for 2.5 hours, most of the time on their phones, right? But they're lifting weights and they're being physically active. So guess what? By the time they leave, they've burned 18 to 2,000 calories. And you would say, well, that's good for weight loss, right? Not necessarily. And then what's happening is these people are actually going to the first fast food place right after the gym, and the 1,800 calories that they burn in 2 hours, they actually consume that and some more in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. And so they stay in this perpetual cycle of never being able to lose weight. So I know up until now, I've given you nothing but bad news. And so the question then is, JT, what really works? What's the most practical thing I could do if I want to lose weight? So here goes, right? This is going to blow you away because this is very counterproductive to what you hear most of the nutritionists and gurus talk about out there. And hear me out. I'm not looking to be polarizing or different. I'm simply going after the thing that I know is the most important thing. My friend, if you want to lose weight, the number one thing you need to do is prioritize sleep. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is ideal. Here's why. Because if you are sleep deprived, it doesn't matter if your nutrition is right. It doesn't matter if you're working out well. It doesn't matter if you're doing cardio every day. It doesn't matter if you're doing crunches. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Your body will not respond. So we need to prioritize sleep, because when that happens, you have better focus. You have less cravings. You lower your cortisol levels, which if you have higher cortisol levels, that's not favorable to weight loss. You have more self-control, more resolve to say no when you're actually well rested. I want you to put this to the test. Think about this. When you wake up first thing in the morning, do you have a ton of cravings? Most likely not. Those cravings don't kick in until later in the day. And I would argue that the reason for that is because you're well rested. And because you're well rested, you have more self-control and more discipline to stay away from the things that when you are tired and your discipline muscle is depleted, you generally go for. Okay, so 7 to 8 hours of sleep is ideal. If you can do that, you're going to see everything else fall into place. Tip number 2. I believe that walking is better than running. I know you're probably thinking, what do you mean? Like, don't you have to sweat and run and hurt because you watched the Rocky movie and you saw Sly just, running up the stairs and doing all these crazy things and carrying things over his shoulders? And that's the movies. That's Hollywood, right? The truth is, when you actually walk, it's beneficial because it's low impact, meaning that you can do it every single day if you wanted to, 6-7 days a week if you really wanted to. Go try and run 3 miles every single day, just getting off of your couch, and you might end up at the hospital with, bad ankles, bad knees, lower back, etc. Right? So walking is great because it's very low impact. It also targets glycogen efficiently. So if you say, what's glycogen? Well, glycogen, excess glycogen that you basically bring in from carbohydrates, things that you eat and in excess, go into your liver stores and your muscles, right? And they're converted to fat. So what we want to do during walking for 45 to 60 minutes, ideally 3 or more times a week, is target glycogen storages more efficiently. This targets glycogen way better than running, sprinting, biking, or any of the high cardiovascular activities. You say, what? I know. Everyone responds to walking that way because it's hard to believe that something that is so quote unquote easy can be so efficient. But I'm telling you right now, in my 23 years of experience, nothing has been more efficient. It's the best kept secret for decreasing body fat and losing unwanted weight in record time. It also has other great properties, which most people don't even think about, but it enhances your immunity. It has these great cognitive health benefits. It promotes diaphragmatic breathing, which allows you to breathe better and bring oxygen to all of your vital organs, which is underestimated, but something that is so incredibly important. And it keeps you young. Walking is one of the most powerful things if you are looking to lose your belly fat. 45, 60 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. If you can do it more, great. The more the merrier, because once again, it's low impact. Tip number 3. Nutrition is key. I know this is, it's not news, right? You've probably heard this from everyone. Nutrition, you can't outrun a bad diet. It's very true, right? And so what do we do? Because you have a keto, Atkins, South Beach, macro counting, calorie counting. These programs all work. If you do them, they actually work. My big hang up with these programs is that they're not sustainable long-term, because let's be honest, who's going to count macros, calories, points, or stay away or demonize foods for the rest of their life? I think the answer to that is you might do it for 2 months, 3 months if you're super disciplined, but you will not stick to it. So then What is the sustainable thing to do? I'm going to give you something very broad, very basic, because obviously I'm talking to lots of different people here. And please, before I say any of these things, please consult with your physician. Make sure that you're in good health. Don't change your diet without consulting a professional, someone that can actually customize your plan based on your needs, based on your goals. But please hear me out. Here's an easy path to follow. Cut out starches, okay? Rice, beans, potatoes, breads, pastas, legumes in the form of beans, lentils, garbanzos, almonds, seeds, nuts. You're like, JT, you just named all the food. What am I supposed to eat? Air? No, you can still eat green vegetables, which we're going to talk about here in a second. You can eat proteins, you can eat good fats. But the reason we want to cut out the starches or just keep them under 50 grams a day is because these things that I just mentioned spike more insulin. And what we want to do is control insulin as much as possible, right? We don't want things that are going to give you these big peaks and these big troughs. So staying away from starches for 4 to 6 weeks is one of the greatest things you can do, or keeping those starches under 50 grams a day. You say, well, what do I eat? Well, you can eat veggies, lean proteins, healthy fats. You say, well, what kind of fats? Well, olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, yolks. I love Udo's oil. It's spelled UDOS, Udo's oil, omegas 3, 6, and 9. Those are super powerful. They're going to keep you energized. You're going to stay satiated. A lot of great things there. Another thing that I said initially, I said fasting will not help you lose weight, but if you fast well, then it can speed up ketosis, okay? Ketosis is when your body runs out of carbohydrates to burn, it starts to create ketones, and this allows your body to actually partition fat for fuel, which is a very efficient way to lose weight. So how can we accelerate the ketosis process, or the semi-ketosis process in this particular case? You can do, if you're not used to fasting, then progressively get yourself there. You may just push your breakfast out 2 more hours, 1 more hour, until you can actually get to the most common protocol, which is a 16-8, okay? 16 hours of fasting, an 8-hour window of eating. So you basically stop eating at 7 p.m. at night, and you don't eat till the next day at 12:30. You're basically skipping breakfast, and in between you can have coffee, tea, things of that nature, anything that doesn't have calories. So that would be a 16-8. You would break fast at 12:30. At that point, once again, if you're looking to eliminate those starches for 4 to 6 weeks or stay under 50 grams, then that's what you would do. You do your veggies, your healthy fats, and your proteins, okay? This will accelerate and get you there a lot sooner. Water is important for hydration, detoxification, absorption. So half a gallon of water throughout the day is great. Make sure you bring water in. It's great for all aspects of your body, but more specifically, it's going to help you really stay consistent with bowel movements, which is super important. 80% of your health is in your gut. If you are dehydrated, you will not have good gut health. Here's the other thing. If you're eating at 12:30, 3:30, and 7 p.m., you're getting those 3 meals in that 8-hour window, let's say, right? Avoid snacking in between. Now, I'm going to tell you that the first 8 to 12 days, you're going to experience some hunger because your body is transitioning from burning lots of sugar through the carbohydrates to actually transitioning to burning fat. And that transition can be a little painful. But if you're eating consistently and you're eating the foods that I just mentioned, and you're doing that at 12:30, 3:30, 7 o'clock in that cadence, that can minimize the hunger pangs and really, really help. It really only takes 8 to 12 days. If you do this well, what's going to happen is you're actually going to notice that you feel a lot better. You feel energized. You're not lethargic. You have more creativity, more mental acuity. A lot of great benefits come from shifting your diet and activating your physiology. So my friend, you have no excuse, right? You know exactly what to do if you're looking to lose weight without having to count macros, calories, points, or be hungry. And this is one of the fastest ways to do it, my friend. And so forget about all the gimmicks I talked about in the beginning of this podcast. Those things don't work. You're going to go in circles and chase your tail. But if you follow what I mentioned here, I promise you that you're going to radically, positively change your life for the better. I hope you enjoyed this episode. My name is JT Tapias with An Idol Called Food. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.